Hello, and welcome to the Expanding Boundaries International Lighthouse Podcast. In this episode, we will be sitting down with Gilman International Scholar Isis West. Isis studied abroad not once, but twice to Germany and Botswana. Stay tuned for educational and fun tips of how to prepare for study abroad and what to expect when traveling the world.
Okay. Hi, everyone. We are back again today. And this time we have Isis West and we have my co-host, Ben Osei, with us today. So today, you already know who I am, Leticia Norte, founder of Expanding Boundaries International. And this is our podcast for the EBI Lighthouse. And this podcast is all about everything that deals with study abroad, exchange program, intern abroad, work abroad, volunteer abroad. We want to bring you stories from abroad, stories about study abroad. How did they do it? Because sometimes people say, hey, I don't think I can do it. So the Lighthouse podcast is to bring you different perspectives, different narratives around international education that will empower you, encourage you to also do the same thing. So that's that for me. I want to introduce you to our special guest, Isis. So Isis, can you give, I don't want to tell them who you are. I want to give you that option to tell people, hey, this is me. So hi, Isis, can you give a little bit about who you are?
Yes. First I want to say thank you guys for having me. My name is Isis West. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I attended undergrad at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and I received my Bachelor of Arts in Anthropology with a minor in Public Health. Currently, I am still at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, but I am receiving my Master of Public Health in Epidemiology. So I'm still in school. I think I'm hoping to graduate in 2022. Hopefully this COVID is gone out of the way by then and I can actually have a graduation. And I studied abroad twice in my undergrad year, so once in Berlin, Germany, and another time in Gaborone, Botswana. I served as a peer advisor for the University of Tennessee, Knoxville's Programs Abroad office for 2 years, so I know a lot about programs abroad. And I was actually a Gilman Scholar my last time going abroad in 2019.
Wow. So the reason why I honestly guess listeners and viewers, why I love, when I spoke with her, I'm like, you gotta come, is the fact that she has done 2 study abroad. And today we're gonna really break it down because I'm like, wow, how can somebody do twice undergrad? So Isis, how was it? How was the journey? Did you even know about study abroad? How did you do it?
So I guess going into undergrad, I'm a very adventurous person. So I knew for sure that I wanted to go abroad, just didn't know when, how, or where. So how did I come down to my decision? So I think I went abroad my sophomore year for the first time. And I went to Berlin, Germany. And I decided to go there, or I decided to study abroad then, because I always tell myself every summer I want to do something that advances me in some way. So whether that be an internship, studying abroad, volunteering somewhere new, just anything I can get my hands on for the summertime. And so I was like, oh, let me study abroad. This is the perfect time. I wasn't doing an internship at all that year yet. So I started looking at the Programs Abroad website that our university has. And I looked at the programs that were open. And I started this process very late. I didn't know that you were supposed to be thinking about studying abroad semesters ahead of when you plan on going. So I ended up thinking about studying abroad in January. So the semester right before leaving in the summer. And so I was looking on the website and a lot of things were closing. And I kept seeing Germany pop up. There's a lot of programs in Germany. And so I seen Berlin, Germany, and I seen it was a program with CIEE, and they were studying monuments and memorials. And I was like, this is really interesting. And I was doing anthropology, so a lot of that field work was involved in it. And I kind of just wanted to advance my knowledge about Germany, because from here, all we hear about is like the Holocaust, and I know there's much more to their history than just that. So I ended up choosing Berlin. And so I applied. I met with some advisors for programs abroad. They helped me with the whole process. It was like a lot of paperwork, meeting with your advisors, making sure classes will count, that whole thing. Yeah, it was a lot. And I am a first generation student. So this process, I did it by myself. Wow. My mom, during the time, no one in my family has ever been abroad or been in college. Wow. So this was a very tough experience for me, because I want to call my mom and be like, what are they talking about? Like, what does this mean? But she doesn't know either.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to go through that process, and it really built me as a person. I feel like being responsible, because I had to make sure I got certain paperwork in, or I wouldn't get scholarships in certain cases. So it was really challenging. My second time going abroad, so that was much easier, because at that point I worked for the Programs Abroad office. So I knew exactly the process of how everything worked, what I needed to do, when I needed to start, when scholarships opened up. So I was definitely more prepared the second time around. My family at that time, they were just like, girl, you can't sit down.
You had a bug, a travel bug.
Yeah. I'm always on the go. Like, that's one thing about me. Like, I just never sit down. And so that time around, they were just like, you got to come up with, you need to make sure you're on top of this one, because, I didn't have the same amount of help I had the second time going around. But so choosing Botswana this time around, I definitely wanted to make sure that I was going abroad for something that was going to either help me figure out what I wanted to do in my life, or help me with graduation. And so a few summers before, I had done my first internship at the University of Florida, and I got interested into public health.
Okay.
Yes. And so I was looking on the Programs Abroad website again, and I was like, I knew 100% that if I go abroad again, I definitely want to go visit an African country.
Okay.
And so that was just like on my mind, because I couldn't do it the summer before. And it's kind of funny, because the program I wanted to do in Botswana, I wanted to do the year before, but I misread the requirements. So the requirement said sophomore, and at that time I think I said at least a freshman or something like that, or just a sophomore. And I was going on to be a junior, so I thought I couldn't do it. And comes to find out, it was just saying like the least you have to be.
Okay. Wow.
So I mean, I guess everything worked out, because that program was twice as much as the one in Germany, because it was longer. It was a full summer. And the year before that in Germany, I wasn't receiving the Pell Grant. So I couldn't apply for the Gilman the first time I went abroad. But it just so happens the next summer I was able to apply for the Gilman.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know how, but it worked itself out.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing, though. Wow, that's a beautiful journey. So I mean, when you chose Germany, then you went to Botswana. When you landed in Botswana, like what were you thinking? Like when the plane landed?
I was just, first of all, that flight, like the travel was so long. Like I think
I bet.
it took us 36 hours.
36 hours.
Wow.
36. And we had 9 of those hours was in Qatar. in the airport. We had a 9-hour layover.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a very long experience. So the first thing I thought about when I landed was like, woo, we're here.
Finally.
I was just so excited to be on the ground at that point. But when I first arrived in Botswana, I was just like, wow, like this is like so cool. I was just so happy. I was just like, I'm here. Like all of that hard work that I was thinking about, like that whole application process. And even with the Gilman, like I definitely did not know if I was going to get the Gilman at all. And I had already booked my flight to go.
Girl, you are not playing.
So I don't recommend, doing that. But I was very determined.
Yeah. I like that.
Manifesting my dream. So I was like, I'm going. I don't know what's gonna happen, but hopefully Gilman comes through.
That is funny. So in all your story, there's one thing I wanted to pick out for audience to hear. So for your first one to Germany, you were saying that you applied late, right? Like you the whole process, you missed out on something. So can you give to the audience, when it comes to thinking about you want to do an intern, volunteer, or study abroad, just even to travel abroad for this in general, when do you start planning? Can you give somebody a timeline, or what is the ideal time to plan these things?
Okay, so I say, well, we say at the Programs Abroad office to always think 2 semesters ahead. So for me, if I knew more, and I don't blame myself because I'm first gen and you're the one that's learning, and
Yes.
So if I knew that I wanted to study abroad that summer, then I should have planned by the fall semester.
Okay.
And the process would work like in the fall semester, I would be looking at programs I wanted to do or places I wanted to go. I would have made that decision then, looked at scholarships that might be open, because you never know when scholarships open or close. Some are really early, some are really late. So just knowing what deadlines I need to be looking out for when the summer comes or whatever. And then the spring semester, start talking to my advisor about the classes, which classes are going to count, which ones are not. What am I going to do about, like, if you receive a Hope Scholarship, how does it impact your last semester?
Okay.
So yeah, I would say 2 semesters ahead. And then by the semester before, definitely have everything packed, because it can become a lot and you are still taking classes.
Okay. Sorry, I know I said we're gonna just do the but I forget it. So, yeah,
I know we were all excited about what your conversation
is really go. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so fascinated about you. Okay, you made a decision to go to Germany the first time, which was understandable. Europe, a lot of people from America go to Europe, and you were like, I gotta go to Botswana the next time. Like it was like a 180, in terms of culture. Like how did you prepare when you were getting there, when you got there, and what did you learn from it in terms of your career and the personal development? What did you get out of it?
So studying abroad in Berlin, how I prepared for that. So how I prepared for both of them, I Googled everything. So like everything I could possibly find. So like what is near me, the best places to eat, the laws, and specifically about like Germany. I remember going through the orientation with the people abroad, and the cool thing about Germany was like their drinking age was different. And so I think the drinking age in Germany was like 16 or 18 or something like that. And I think I was 19 or 20.
Wow.
So that was like
that was a big
that was a big thing that I didn't think about until I Googled it. So looking at things like that, and definitely checking out the money, like the currency, understanding what my dollar meant over there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't notice, well, I knew about it, but I didn't know how hard it would hit me. When I got to Germany, the currency was very different. So anytime if I try to take out $50, it's really more like 70 something.
Wow.
So that's something that I didn't plan for. And so that kind of really it really impacted me, because I was just like, I thought I had this much money, but it kind of, it decreased when I switched it over. So that really hurt me. And so definitely look at the money. And as far as Botswana, so I didn't know anything about that. I just knew I wanted to go, and that whatever happened when I got there, it's just gonna be my learning experience.
Wow.
So I Googled everything that I could, but honestly, I would definitely say that Google didn't give the country enough props of what I learned there and the experiences that I gained from visiting there. And as far as you mentioned, how did I go from European countries and African countries? So I think the number one important thing about studying abroad is to break the stereotypes in the media portrayals that you see every day. So my first time going abroad, I had limited selection, but I knew I wanted to know more about German history. So I chose that place. I was like, if I ever go abroad anywhere else, it has to be completely different. And so, like I said, I already had it in my heart that I wanted to go visit an African country. So having those two separate experiences and comparing it to my home situation in America, that was very important to me. It was very important to me to see how to not go back to the same place, to not choose another European country, but to see bigger than that. And somehow the world became smaller to me after visiting both those places. So,
wow. So I want us to, because Ben will be asking you all those questions, but my whole thing is like, I'm picking out all the things that you are saying. So when it comes to currency, so can you give, you talked about the process, right? Now we want to know, so what are some of can you emphasize more of the must things that you have to really put in place in perspective when you are picking your destination?
So definitely the laws. I had a friend, so LGBTQ laws are a very important thing. If you are a part of that community, I definitely recommend you do your research, because you want to make sure that, you're going to learn about different countries, but you want to make sure you're comfortable as well. And so I believe in Botswana, they had just passed the law about LGBTQs. So that was a very big moment. And thank God it had got passed. But if it was before, then you would definitely want to know about that before you came. So definitely looking at the laws, and I paid attention to how much everything would cost.
Yes, it's needed, girl.
Yeah. So you definitely, and the number one thing I would tell people about is study abroad. Nobody ever told me to save up to spend money. And that was a very big thing, because I was just like, you pay for the program, you pay for your flight, and you still have to pay for anything extra that you want to do that your program does not cover. So lessons on spending money, that was my biggest thing. Definitely do your research on that. And
so the award actually helped you out in terms of helping with the per diem and getting around transportation and all that. And I want to get into that. I like the culture part of it. I'm always fascinated about different culture, and especially the food. How did you manage with the food? And I mean, Germany, you probably have a couple of meals in America that are German oriented, but Botswana, how did you manage that?
so there wasn't too much managing, because I'm all for meat, potatoes, and everything was there. So adapting with the food there was not that hard. It was different. I will say the food was different in the grocery stores.
Okay.
So sometimes we would have people cook for us, and like, of course, the food was like amazing. But in terms of like me cooking my own food, it was different. And so that's one thing I didn't think about either. Is like, you know, like the meat tastes different, like the texture of the meat and stuff. So I would try to make probably like, you know, like my favorite American meals, and it wouldn't come out exactly right because, you know, it's not the same type of meat. Yeah. So that was different for me. So as far as adapting though, but everything else was amazing. So that wasn't too.
Wow. Because we have some people, they don't want to travel because of food. Like the fact that it's like the biggest fear is like, oh my God, I will not get to eat mac and cheese or McDonald's and stuff.
And I am a picky eater. Like, I am a picky eater. I would eat a burger anywhere. So, that was definitely a big thing. And I would say you just have to step out of your comfort zone. And they definitely, in both places, they both challenged me to do that. And sometimes I would resort back to my, like, you know, my good old burger. But even sometimes those were different. So you just can never be too sure. So you just have to try things out. And if you can't find anything, then you're going to have to try to make it at home and hope it turns out right. But, yeah, so, like, yeah, I definitely encourage people to don't be afraid of the food. There's different things you can eat. There you'll find something that you love. Like, I love S1E3. Like, I don't know what it is or what's about it, but like, I just wanted to take it home with me, and I was so sad I couldn't. And as far as fast food restaurants go, so the menus are very different, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So like, I remember visiting a McDonald's in Germany, and they had like a lot of vegan stuff.
Oh.
Burger King had mozzarella sticks.
Oh.
I think McDonald's had onion rings. Like, it was just different. Like, the menu was different.
Yeah, they catered to the community.
Yeah, they didn't have honey mustard, and I was so hurt about that. That was And so, as far as Botswana though, there wasn't a lot of fast food restaurants, and I think that speaks, you know, a lot about our community here. There's not a lot of fast food restaurants in either one of those countries, unless you're in like a really highly populated place like the train station or something like that.
Okay.
So that was a lot of people cook, and groceries are very cheap there. Like, although the transfer to Germany was very expensive for me, it was still very easy to live because
affordable.
Yeah, I can go to the grocery store and get everything I need for like 20 euros or something like that. And that'll last me like a long time.
Wow, that is nice to know.
Probably less than 20 euros too, because like, yeah, it's so different. So, and in Botswana, like KFC is really big, which was so like just so amazing to me. You see what restaurants get to make it across borders and stuff like that. And so KFC's menu was very different. It was a lot of chicken sandwiches.
Wow.
And so that was different. And I love those chicken sandwiches. Like, we used to go up there for lunch sometimes between our clinic views, and so yeah.
Wow,
I just say try it all.
Wow. So I want us to go back to Germany. What were you doing in Germany? Because people want to know, like, what was the program about and all those things. And then from there we can go to Botswana, and then what were you doing also in Botswana? People want to know what was the program. Did you go with a special company, all those things? People want to know those kind of stuff.
Yeah, so for Berlin, I went through an affiliate, so it's like a third-party organization named CIEE.
Okay.
And they threw that program, and it was just really, they set everything up. They were very organized about everything. And so
they're a very popular study abroad provider. Yeah.
Yes, I love CIEE, and I chose them because they covered my flight.
Oh, cool.
When you're looking for programs, look for programs that cover your flight, because that was something that was very big.
Yeah.
Covering my flight. And so I studied monuments and memorials there.
Okay. Wow.
And Germany has specifically Berlin, has a lot of monuments and memorials for.
Interesting. More than anything?
A lot. Like, we went walking for class around all the different monuments and memorials, and it was just very beautiful because I said I wanted to learn more about their history, but I would have never imagined it being that deep. So so having that class, visiting that class, it was very fun. So we took a lot of field trips. We walked a lot of different places. We seen the Berlin Wall. We talked to multiple people who had grandparents and great grandparents who experienced the World War II and the aftermath of all of that. And so, yeah, Germany, that whole experience taught me the importance of sharing stories.
Yes.
And some of those stories don't hit you until you hear from somebody who's been directly affected by it.
Yeah. And just to interject, what the beauty about this is the fact that you are learning history, but it's like you are on the ground. It's not like the lecture has the books open and you are reading and stuff. You are on the ground. You are able to really experience it and then hear firsthand story. It's not like somebody's coming and telling you that, hey, I'm telling you this happened, so you got to believe. But
yes,
are very wow.
Yes. So that was like very different. And that's why I love study abroad, because it's those moments that you just, you never connect with until you're right there talking to somebody about it. And so our classes, I think I had 2 classes. So we did monuments and memorials, and then we did communicative German. So I believe with most programs, you have to take a communications class just so you can get by. And I love that class because it was very interactive. We would go to the ice cream shop up the street and they would make us order it in German.
Oh.
So it was a very cool way to learn, but the ice cream was amazing.
Interesting. Now you make me want to go to German. The ice
cream was amazing. Like, it makes you look at the ice cream we have here like, what am I eating? Yeah. It's very
Europe is fun though. There, like you said, there is so much stories, especially with Germany. There's the Scandinavian story, World War One and Two, and you get to learn a lot, and they are very particular about their history. They preserve a lot of history.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So do you when you came back, before you went and when you came back, is there any difference in terms of personal development and career wise? Did you learn something? Did it change you?
So Germany was it wasn't the same as America, but it was similar. So it didn't have as much of an impact as Botswana did.
Okay.
I would say that. But I learned a lot about how to be responsible. Because that was my first time abroad. That was my first time going out of the country, going through the airports, like my first time. So it definitely taught me how to be responsible, taught me how to be careful, wise about my decisions, planning, because I had to, if we went out of, to another country, I had to plan and make sure I had everything straight, because you don't want to get stuck in another country.
Yeah, because the mom and dad is not coming to bail you.
It helped me look at the bigger picture of things. And it also made me, not that I didn't before, but like the media, you really cannot take the media for what it is all the time. You have to go deeper than what information they present to you. So as far as that goes, it definitely made me more aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one thing I want to point out about Isis stuff, what she's saying is that you gotta go and experience it yourself. Don't wait on the media. Don't wait. Like, books history is great, but if you really have the opportunity to really put your foot, like your feet or your foot at the soil of the place to really get that experience, please, by all means, go. Because you guess what she said. What she was hearing from the media and her experience were two different stuff. And she's like, go deep. Seeing is believing. So go deep. We want to go back to the story that she was telling us. So she told us about her Germany experience, the program that she was doing. Now we want to switch back to Botswana. What was she doing in Botswana? What was the program and stuff?
Okay, so in Botswana, this one was more personal because I went specifically for my minor. So I was just like super excited to work in public health and in another country, especially one that is very different from ours. So in Botswana, we took public health classes, and we had one class that was based on clinic visits. So we would visit the clinic and kind of just observe everything that was going on. And we ended up getting very, very personal in the clinic. And I was able to see a lot that I probably wouldn't have the experience of seeing here. I specifically observed the maternal and child clinics a lot because I'm interested in maternal health. So, and I also visited the HIV clinics and the tuberculosis clinics, and looking in the diabetes clinic. So we volunteered and observed in the clinics for like 2 days out of the week, I think. So we would visit different clinics around the city, and we even had the option, or we had the opportunity to stay in the village, and we visited clinics around there. So we studied how they did public health, how their healthcare system worked, and it was just a really beautiful experience. That was my first foot in the door with public health, I would say, like my second foot maybe. And so just to see how they did everything, like as far as documentation, because they didn't have like the fancy technology that we have today, and so just seeing how they make things happen was very beautiful to me. Like, wow, they're not doing it how we're doing it, but they're still getting it done. And that I had like a lot of appreciation for that. So that's what I did in Botswana. I focused on community public health and working in the clinics. And
that is nice. So was the program more focused on internship, or what was it about? Were you getting credit for internship only, or what other stuff?
So it wasn't even an internship, which is the cool part about that program. I took 3 classes. So I can't remember the names exactly. I think one was a health professionals class, and in that class we did our clinic visits.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we would visit the clinic, and then in class we would talk about like, how's everything going? What are you noticing? What could we improve on? What do you guys think, like as Americans, you should improve on? And just comparing and just learning about it.
Wow.
And then the second class was another public health class, but they talked about like the history of disease and the current research going on. And then my third class was a language and culture class for S1E3. And I love that class because our teachers were really fun, and we got to visit kotla, so weddings. We got to go to a few of those, and it was really fun. Yeah.
Wow. Sound like you had a lot of fun. And would you like to go back?
I definitely would love to go back. Like, I've learned how to work the condies now and know where I'm going. So yeah, I would love to go back just to.
No, that's amazing. Did you bring anything back, like souvenirs, and did you make friends and you keep in touch with it?
So yeah, I definitely made friends. We're all on Facebook together, like still talking. And the souvenirs that I brought back, so it's actually funny. So for Botswana's trip, instead of doing a GoFundMe, I did a pick a box fundraiser.
Okay.
And so basically, I used like a Canva website, like a design website, and I created this chart, and it was like a box 1 through 100. And so, like, if someone picked box 26, then they would donate $26. And I told them for each donation, I'll bring you back a souvenir.
Okay.
And so that was my different approach, because the first time I did a GoFundMe, so I didn't want to exhaust like my resources.
That is nice.
Yeah. And so when I was abroad, I had found we went to this like souvenir market, and there's these little bracelets. These little bracelets that said "I Heart Botswana."
Mm-hmm.
So I got like 20 or 30 of those for the people who donated to me, and then I shipped them back out when I got to the States.
Wow.
So that was one souvenir. And then for my family, I bought them each like these little plaques, kind of like these African plaques of the country, Botswana on it. And I gave those to my parents. And I'm trying to think. Oh, I also bought keychains. I love collecting keychains from places. I don't even know if I have my keys near me, but I had like a little African keychain. So I love those.
That's nice.
And then I also got a Mahele board. It's like a game board. And I fell in love with that game when I was abroad, because my family were really big on playing board games and stuff like that. So I kind of mastered the game when I was there. And they have it's like this wooden board. I wish I could go grab it, but
yes, like you can go grab it, please.
Go grab it?
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew.
Hey.
So so this is Mahele, and the other you have to basically get 3 in a row on these lines. And so when you get 3 in a row, you can take another person's chip. So it's kind of like a checkers type of thing. And so they actually were going to give me like a cloth version, but I was like I want the authentic board. I want the whole board. And I actually had to throw out a few things to get this into my suitcase.
Wow.
Yes. So yeah, I was like, there's no way I'm like going home without this. So
wow.
It's like my favorite souvenir.
You brought something back. That is beautiful. Yes,
I was determined. I was like, how much do you want for it? Like, even if I didn't have a lot, I was like, this means so much, to me. And it's a traditional game for them. And so I was just like this, and getting my family to play it, it was just super exciting.
Yes. I want you to talk about, I think what I got, the aha moment in my head right now is you said the fundraising that you did. So outside of applying for Gilman to help you fund your program, what are some of the things that you did for funding to really make this thing really work out for you?
So for Germany, like I said, I wasn't receiving the Pell Grant at that time, so I couldn't, a lot of scholarships for Pell Grant I couldn't get. So I did, my mother made me, my mother made me a GoFundMe, and she advertised that GoFundMe so much, like every day she would share it. She would get so many people to donate, and like she really just took off with it, and I appreciate her like so much. And so we were able to raise like $1,500 off of the GoFundMe alone. So that was like a big chunk of the money that came for the Germany trip. And then my grandma helped me, and then the rest of it I was able to pay on a deferment plan.
Wow.
And I used my Hope Scholarship for that one too.
Cool. What about Botswana? I like the fact that it's like some people, when you start late in the whole process, funding sometimes is out of the equation because the scholarship deadlines are already done, and it's either you wait for the next cycle to do your study abroad process, or you gotta find different creative ways to fund. And if you are, like I just said myself, we don't have the family that can say, hey, here's the money, go do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You gotta find different creative ways and go fund me, and just connecting with families and friends, saying, hey, this thing really means a lot to me. So if you can please help me, every little dollar that you can donate to help, please help me. So even if you're going to apply for scholarship, I think that doing a crowdfunding or GoFundMe or something like that doesn't really hurt, because even we help you with some of your excursion pocket money. Because even sometimes when you are done with when you get the money for the Gilman and stuff, you pay for the program fees, and you are in the country, you're gonna have to try to explore, and all those things come with money. So even if the school is paying, you have some scholarship and stuff, do not limit one scholarship. Try to really broaden your reach on how much funding that you want to get. If am I wrong, Isis?
Yeah, definitely. My family is my biggest support system. I'm very blessed to have them. I might not have much, but I know that if they can do anything about it, they will. So I'm very blessed to have them.
That's nice. So we have like a few minutes left, like I'll say 5-10 minutes. And Ben, you have anything that you want to say before?
No, I actually want to really. I mean, I want to talk about you talking about your family, and I want to also bring in the community. In our community, like, we don't see people like us, traveling, studying abroad, and the family is actually coming, like the way you were talking, I can sense that your family was the biggest supporter, the biggest chunk of the reason why you were able to go travel abroad. Is there anything else that actually helped you out in turn, apart from your family, like community, church, or something like that?
Definitely. So Martha O'Brien, it's an organization in Nashville. They've helped me pretty much throughout high school and throughout college. So just being able to check with them, like, hey, what does this mean? Like, what do you think I should do about this?
Wow.
Just getting advice from them, that was a lot to me. And I always thank them and shout them out, because they really helped me, when I'm doing this alone by myself. It was just having that extra security that I can talk to somebody who at least is going through half of what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So Martha O'Brien for sure. Everybody, my family, my friends, supporting me, and definitely just me being a truly self-determined person. Like, I am a true goal setter, and I really try to do everything I say I'm going to do, because life is short.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like, why wait? That's always
why wait. Why wait?
You never know what waiting means.
Yeah.
You never know when you're not gonna be here. So that first time abroad, I wasn't Pell Grant and I was running late, but I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna find out how to do it. And if I didn't get the money, then I would have saved up for the next year.
Wow.
So just never let anyone, project their fears onto you. Like, always try. That's always the least you can do. Cool. And anything from that is just a lesson.
Yeah. So I want to just summarize a little bit, and I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, please tell me that this is not what I said. So from what I have gotten from this is that, first of all, you went to Germany. And even with a German, there was a little bit late in the application for study abroad scholarships and stuff. So your family helped you to really move it with GoFundMe and stuff. And then when you came back, what you enjoy more about Germany is the fact that you had the opportunity to learn about World War II and have one-on-one interaction with people that were history whilst you were there. And out of that experience, and I think what I also got from your German experience is the fact that because it was Europe, it was not that much of a culture shock to you, right? Compared to you going to Botswana. And in Botswana, what I got, so family, if you're listening, what I got from Botswana is the fact that even though you were going for, you didn't go there for internship or volunteer, you got so lucky that the program gave you hands-on approach to be able to volunteer or intern in these communities and these hospitals for you to really understand what public health is all about. How are they doing it? What is their approach? Even though it might not be like what America is used to, you got to learn about their whole traditional way of really dealing with public health and stuff. So that's what I got from this. So if you're thinking about doing a study abroad, you might never know. You can ask a program that you want to go and say, hey, do you guys offer anything about volunteer or internship that I can also add to my program? So you can hit two, I guess a 2-in-1. You are there for credit, and then you're also enjoying the opportunity to have hands-on approach or hands-on skills. So that's what I got from there. And then what I got, am I wrong? Isis, am I?
No, you sound good to me.
Okay. And then what I also got is the fact that when you did the Gilman, you were able to also do a fundraising with the Gilman also. And the beauty about that, what I love about what she did or what Isis did is the fact that she did a box fundraising, right? And she listed from 1 to 100, and people can donate whether $1, $2, $26, whatever it is. And she came back from Botswana with souvenirs as a gift, as a thank you to them. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, that is one of the creative way of really doing a fundraising. And it's not like, oh, give me the money and buy, but give me the money. I'm going to go experience it, and then I'll bring you something from that experience. So it helps the people that are supporting you to also be part of that experience. So if you didn't get anything about this, especially for fundraising and for funding, I think that we are really going to really put this on our website to let people know that these are some of the creative ways that you can do to raise money for your study abroad. So, and I will end here and say, Isis, can you give like 3 or 4 any tips, anything last minute, like why must everyone study abroad?
So you should study abroad to broaden your knowledge on things. It's so easy to just be stuck in what you're doing now and what's happening around you. But when you go abroad, you see what's happening in those places, and you see what's happening over here. And somehow the world just becomes smaller, and you realize that we're all humans and we're all facing these challenges from all over. I'll never forget, in Germany, I didn't know that there was a Black Lives Matter. That completely shook me. And I'm just like, wow, I'm over here thinking, that it's just America that's going through this Black Lives Matter situation, and it's all over the world, like it's everywhere. And then going to Botswana and telling local people that there's a lot of Black people in America, because a lot of people just think it's white people. And so having those two completely different conversations and coming back home just proved to me that I needed to go abroad. I would have never seen that type of perspective from sitting home. Like, I would have never experienced and made those friendships with people if I was just sitting at home. So go abroad, go meet people, go hear their stories, bring the stories back with you, educate everybody else around you. And the more we do that, the more we become one, I hope.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yes. That's awesome. I have one question. Do you have a blog post? Do you blog about these things? Or do you write stories about them?
I should have definitely blogged. That's one thing I do regret.
That's all right. Is there any country that you planning to go? Is there any, or you just done for now? Like, you're taking a big break?
I'm taking a big break because I am in graduate school now, and COVID is definitely not, letting up on anything going on. So I haven't decided, but it will be something different.
Okay.
It will not be similar to what I've been doing.
Thank you. Our other co-hosts have to join the last minute.
Hey, Karen.
The star.
Thank you, Isis. I'm gonna end the broadcast right now. Thank you so much.